everyone, welcome to the podcast where You Don't Look Disabled, where we talk about disability in intersectional lenses. Sorry, my brain just stopped there. We didn't stream last week because shenanigans happened, and by shenanigans, me and Rimbi were both extremely dead, but we're back.
Uh, I was not dead, but depends on your definition of dead, really.
If in any definition you were dead, you were technically dead, and I'm technically not lying. I was very dead though. I was dead for
Mm,
both of us.
if you mean in hell, which in hell it means to be dead,
Yes.
yeah, you would
Yeah.
consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fighting demons. Okay, so here we are. 1 week late, actually 2 weeks later. We're going to talk about shenanigans. Just kidding.
I mean, you're not kidding. We're going to talk about shenanigans.
Um, so the theme of this podcast is about um, actually it was a thing that was actually talked in a few episodes ago, in which if I remember correctly, we were questioning about the dealings on our childhood, which was the fact that one of us. I know that I tend to bully Told here a lot. I know it's an unfortunate habit that I have, and but Todd was actually the one doing the bullying thing, and but also he was bullied, and I was the one being bullied exclusively. Interesting. And we actually questioned at the time um why, because we both have power dynamics, at the time that we're playing. At the time I had the whole like, oh, I am protected by this, I am disabled, I'm actually kind of protected by the teachers because I'm disabled, visibly disabled, not visibly, but like perceived, identified as disabled, sorry. And were you have this power dynamic, which was like, you kind of have manipulation skills. That's I think, and you could actually, and you were extremely smart, and you actually have good grades, so you could actually play with this whole power dynamic. And also, you also were very liked by the teacher, so you could actually play with this power dynamic of pressing or the or the classmates. So and I was questioning why one of us did that and the other one didn't. And that's pretty much what is going to be about this podcast, I think. And also the shenanigans
You mean
that tend to
episode?
have. What?
You mean episode,
Uh,
not podcast. Not the entire podcast. Sheesh. Anyway, one thing that I feel like Rimbi kind of forgot to say was, hey, yes, today's theme is bullying. Hello. I would also like to point out that even though this podcast is about disability in relation to other topics, in this particular case, in what concerns me particularly, I will be talking from a point of view of someone that does not have or had at the time um, any visible disability. I still do not have it. And at the time, I was only neurodivergent, so I will not be talking from the point of view of someone that is not able because at the time I was able-bodied, and yeah. And Rimbi, and correct me if I'm wrong, you will be talking from the perspective of someone that was perceived as disabled, but also able-bodied, at least for the most part, I believe.
mm, uh, yeah, physically able-bodied, so yes.
Yeah, I would also like to kind of semi-correct a couple things
Yeah, yeah.
because Rimbi kind of started talking on my behalf here. Uh, yes, hello. Toad is a past bully. Hello, um, and it's not that I necessarily have manipulative abilities. It's more like I develop them in order to keep on having my abusive traits. What I did have, though, was power. The reason why I could play with power dynamics is because I had power. I was indeed uh, a kid that a lot of teachers liked, at least, and that I could at least, even for the teachers that didn't particularly like me, I was still, the the best student of the class. So I would have some kind of protection there. So yeah, I was a bully from around 11 to until I believe 12. Yeah, I entered fifth grade with 10. So yes, and only really truly stopped when I was 12. So yeah, between 11 and 12. I was being bullied before that, and that's what actually made me, in the end, engage and kind of repeat the cycle and become a bully myself because it would give me some sort of sense of power. And definitely my
Hmm.
disability played a role in that, in the sense that I was a pretty lonely kid. I had very little social skills, including manipulation skills. I didn't really have them uh, at all, at least at the time, and because I was extremely angry at everyone, I was extremely angry about everything and everyone around me. I kind of found a way of feeling like I was in control of something, and that was just doing the same thing that other people did to me. So I kind of just physically abused kids, mostly boys that were in some way weaker or younger than me,
Well,
or both, because that would give
well,
me a sense of power.
you bit the shit out of them.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Um.
beat, I didn't beat the shit out of them. I mean, they never got bruised or something, but I beat them. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
No, I wasn't much of the verbal abuser unless it was to save my own skin. Like I would
Hmm.
verbally abuse, but to get away with what I was already doing, not to degrade per se. I wouldn't make fun of other kids. That would make me uncomfortable, actually.
Hmm.
I mean, that's what was being done to me. People were making fun of me. I guess that if I did the exact same, then I would probably feel like I was being a dick. But if I was doing something different, then it was perceived as okay by teenage me.
Uh, I'm just finding it interesting because it's kind of like a type of bullying that is more done by boys, at least physically.
Hello?
Yeah, I was finding
I
that interesting. I
am
was
a boy.
I was finding that interesting, like because at the time you were not identifying yourself as,
But I
um,
was a guy regardless.
yeah. Sorry.
Just because I wasn't identifying, it doesn't mean that I
Yeah,
wasn't having all the behaviors that were typical from a guy. I was. I pretty much was
yeah.
incorporating
I
everything
stand
that I saw
corrected.
from masculinity anyway.
Mm. I stand corrected. Sorry. Um, I just found interesting. So, um, hmm. uh, because I thought that you would be like the provocative type, because
Oh no.
I was kind of like imagine you as probably uh, my bully as well. So it's kind of because you know the story. Because she was also kind of almost in the same position as you, uh, pretty much. But it was she actually was in a different in an economic class, which was also a privilege that she had and you didn't. Uh, but at this point, that should already start also my divergence because
Yeah,
because you.
people don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, I'm kind of like getting a little bit out of nowhere. Uh, so I was the one that was mostly bullied. I don't. because yes, I kind of abused my sister, but and I regret years after.
Aha,
But
so
we're
you were
talking
a
about
bully.
school bully. Yeah, but
Haha.
not your school bully. Yeah, I was. I forgot to mention that. Like, I didn't want to pass the narrative that I was a saint. No, I wasn't. Uh, Very much far from saint. But I was not a school bully. Far from that. I was the well, not far from that. I was, the victim of it. It It's kind of like I remember in kindergarten actually kind of suffering from it because when I tend to remember when I suffer from bullying, I tend to look if uh if I was doing self harm, because that tends to be a telltale sign that I was being bullied. And at the time I
Mm-hmm.
was doing self harm, which was basically um, stuck in my skin to make, and then it got bruised,
Mm-hmm.
and I was. And that was for finding weird, but because I was also brilliant in the way that the boys would push me. They one of them, I think that they pushed me over the slide, and I fell into the sand, and I got an ear infection because the sand entered my ear, and it was painful. Um, that was actually one of the instances I still remember. This was in kindergarten, so the most recurrent bullying experiences tends to be happened on middle school, and for me, it also happened on middle school.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, Definitely. So I was not 12; I was 13, 14. Uh, I was very, very confused, to be honest. I didn't understand things. I could say like, uh, it's not like I lacked social skills. It was more like I was not aware. Like I was starting to get aware, but I was not aware of the level of how malicious people could be. So like I know that people are malicious, but I don't know how malicious they could be, and I was learning on a hard way. Uh, So I dealt with a bunch of bully tactics. It was mostly verbal and psychological bullying. So I very rarely dealt with physical bullying, except one guy that actually kicked me with a mobility aid. That's a thing that happened.
Somehow.
It's a thing that happened. Really,
I mean,
I remember.
some guys threw a rock at me, so that was also a thing that happened, and I think that was literally the only time I was physically bullied. I believe.
No, someone was very able to decide to actually beat me my leg with a mobility aid. Really, and because I did something to him. Like I remember I just it was very mild. It was I literally I soaked his pants like in the middle of the legs like with chocolate milk.
What?
It,
That is a mess.
it was being it was being annoying. Like he was laughing at me, and I didn't know like it was with another guy that was laughing while I was passing, and I could not get enough of that shit. So I decided to walk to just approach him, and then I was kind of like, "Bro, you're laughing," and then I just dumped in milk chocolate milk on the middle of his pants out of nowhere, almost, and then I got hit by a mobility aid. That's the thing that happened. It's very rimmy, to be honest.
I'm just here like, uh, God, I don't miss middle school.
Me neither. But that's a light event. That was light because mostly I was verbally abused. Some people really generally thought I was mentally ill, which was amazing. I love it.
The
Uh,
classic ableism.
People, yeah, people literally. I got not expelled. I was gatekept from participating in a class activity that they were doing in a recess because because they didn't allow me to enter. Like it was not even a closed space; it was an open space. Like they were just doing this barrier, and I was kind of like, "What the fuck, dudes?
Dude, you're a
The
little bit too
fuck?"
close to the mic.
Sorry.
It's
It was
okay.
kind of like, I was like, man, why are you gatekeeping me? And I was so pissed. And there's a bunch of shit I don't remember. It was mostly done by. It was orchestrated by one orchestrated. That's a very interesting word, because the person was a musician. Um, um, she was a musician, and because she had an influence in the class, and she had a group that decided to orchestrate this type of like uh, bullied tactics to me, which included persecution, verbal abuse, provocation, um, I don't know, just spelling rumors, I don't know, all types of psychological abuse
Being a
imaginable.
medical, being a middle schooler, basically.
Yes, but someone and having someone threaten me of uh, death twice. One of them was kind of related to my. Well, it's a very unfortunate one because she told me that she would offer me poison cakes, which for me was like poison cakes. That's very interesting. It's not going to mess up my suspected OCD. Ah! Oh my goodness, that's so fucked up. Yeah, it was basically that. And a gal
Please
actually
don't
that
shout.
sorry.
Sheesh.
Uh, and that gal decided um to think that I was a lesbian in the public restroom,
Uh,
and
Homophobia.
because I was staring at other women's boobs, and it was so false because one, I was autistic and I could not make eye contact to save my life, and two, I was afraid of being bullied in the public restroom. So I don't know where she came up with that, except to annoy me. And that didn't work, bitch, because I already know that you are a homophobic piece of shit. That's it. That's the tweet. Uh, there were other. I'm talking this in a very light-hearted way, but it was very painful year. It was eighth grade, and I was already dealing with my share of anxieties. And at least by the time was of my worsening anxiety, and the bullying experience was not helping. Um,
Who would have guessed that bully does not help anxiety? I didn't know that.
yeah, and I didn't want to go to school. I barely have motivation to go to school. I would avoid road trips, school trips actually, because it would remind me how alone I was.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, that's yeah. I don't know, cause like I w- I had a lot of experiences like those, but not really those in the sense that like I guess I was being bullied on very specific things. I was being bullied specifically by my way of talking, or because of my way of talking, because of my way of walking, and because of my hair. It was mostly these three, really. And it came as a bunch of different ways. And most of them were really ableist stuff because my way of walking was because used to kind of do little jumps instead of just regular walking. Because I would feel more comfortable that way. I was always on my toes while walking. So I kind of in middle school I stopped doing that and stopped like walking quote unquote normally, in order to for people to stop calling me stuff like ballerina, which or butterfly, which sounds not too bad, but when it's said in a derogatory way, it gets on you. It really gets on you. Um, then people would make fun. Oh, also people also made fun because I would sing on my own and talk on my own. That was also a thing that happened, which was just me being autistic as fuck. The thing of talking was because I couldn't pronounce the L correctly because I just didn't know that the L was done with the tongue, so I would use like my lower lip to do it, like L instead of L. Probably the difference is not even that big or that perceptible, but yeah, I was not doing the L with the tongue, and no one really ever corrected me until I start being bullied. So that was fun. Um, and people would call me by titles of songs, and basically make fun of me by, if the title of the song had an L in it, they would just do a w sound instead to mock the way I would say the L's. And in terms of my hair, people would just make fun of me because, well, it's just racist, honestly, because like my hair is not the typical white hair. It's kind of like, it's extremely curly and it had a lot of volume, so I guess it gets out of the normative way of looking, therefore people make fun of it. So I actually, not too long ago, I watched a couple of videos done by black creators on experiences that they had with their own hair, and I related very extremely hard. And like, I am extremely white. You don't understand the privilege that this toad has. I'm basically bleached. But even then, I related extremely hard. Maybe I related extremely hard to that content because the experiences they had were very similar to mine, like experiences of having memories of being in the bathroom and just trying to straighten the hair in order to make it look like something that people wanted it to, and stuff like that, and just crying about it and being mocked all the time and being called all kind of stuff because of it. I really related to that because, yeah, it's not fun. So yeah, I was a pretty edgy kid because I was already extremely awkward and I didn't have any friends. And then on top of it, of all of that, then people just start even making fun of that. And yeah, no, I was a pretty lonely person. I kind of still am. I guess it's it really comes from my development of being alone. Then I end up very easily feeling lonely because of that. So yeah, hey, I was also a victim. Hello.
We are all victims
Of
of
the
our
system.
demons. Of the demons, not the system. Just
Oh,
kidding. Uh,
I am so sorry.
just kidding. You said that you were lonely. You felt lonely. Sorry, I didn't got the last part.
I don't remember what I said anymore. I basically just meant to say that I still kind of feel that way because I guess I
Oh,
developed that sense of loneliness back then, and it kind of
mm,
never went
I
away.
see.
It was like a kind of core development of my own personality. I mean, I almost have a personality disorder that does have issues with the feelings of loneliness. So it's a developmental shenanigan. I don't know what to call it. Shenanigan is the right word. I'll just call it shenanigan. It's shenanigan.
I see. I see. Shenanigan. Oh, sorry. So I'll comment on that. Because I forgot. Let me just close the door. Because I forgot about
Okay,
the
now you're a little bit too far.
cause.
God.
To
Please,
mention the
please, Rimbi,
cause
Rimbi,
of
Rimbi,
the
Rimbi.
bullying. Because I pretty much mentioned
Are you listening to me?
what.
Okay.
No, I wasn't because I had to close the door. I had to.
Exactly. My point precisely. You were way too far away from the mic.
I know. I'm sorry. There's
Go
certain
on,
creatures in this house that decided to.
creatures. They're called family, Rimbi.
Creatures that just. It just no, they're just haunting creatures that are similar to me, but they are not quite. And they just decide to slip in through the cracks of the door, decide to hunt the living human being that is the poet. That's my
I
own
literally do
curse,
not have the
my
spoons
friends.
for this shenanigan. I don't know.
It's Halloween. It's Halloween.
It's we are still like 4 days away from it, or 5. I don't know.
Shoot. Shit. Actually,
Okay.
I wanted to do this. Like, it's just like it's very haunted here, but it is not. This is not the purpose. That's not the purpose. I mean, don't get me wrong. Bullying can hunt you. Like cold traumas do hunt you. Um, for me, it still it used to hurt me more. Nowadays, not that much. But the cause I was talking about, I forgot to mention why I was bullied. Well, for the reasons that Tom also mentioned, was because I was perceived as disabled, and probably, yes, I was mocked by my hair that is also very curly and extremely frizzy and extremely dry. And I was people would think that I have lice. Uh, that you see the the autistic elements go undertones, the racist undertones that this thing has. That I was mocked by several things, also my stimming, on my compositions. I still cannot distinguish what is stimming, what is composition for me. But I was mocked by that, because of that. Sorry, I was mocked because a lot of things, like just me being autistic, basically. I was mocked because of that. That's pretty much it. I was mocked because I was autistic. That's it. And people were like, "Oh, we don't like this weird peep." I mean, there was actually another disabled kid in my class. This was in ninth grade, and people would think that he had schizophrenia. Um, I know I don't think that he had this schizophrenia, but people just make up diagnosis, because because this kid is weird, so you just say the a random psychiatrist highly stigmatized condition, and it's really what this kid has, like. So basically, and I was kind of friends with that kid. Like, we would sit together in class, and I was, trying to be kind to people that were more like me. So and that kid was also mocked, and not as heavily as me, because I was more close to the bully than him. Uh, but it was, and they actually had the courage to tell the the principal, yes,
Mhm.
the school principal, about this, and it got shit for it. And no, all class hated him for it. And that's why I was so reluctant to report the situation, because I would get persecuted by it. Like, the bullying would get worse. That's why you cannot just say, like, just report it, because most of the time it's impossible, because you're playing with power dynamics. I'm talking about the bully. I didn't fully describe this person. She was a gal, a cis straight gal, I assume. She was white. She was able-bodied. Uh, she was also middle class. Uh, she also had very extremely good rates. She was the daughter of a teacher in that school, so she had a lot of protection. She had a lot of privilege, and and of course, when it comes to me, I was where I was not very. I was disabled. I was a little poor. I was poorer than her. I was already kind of like queer, and all the stuff that could actually be, I cannot make this joke. That could actually, make me very marginalized. Yeah. So
I was very much perceived like her, even though
yeah, that's
I
why.
am
That's what.
trans.
Yeah. Sorry.
And except for the middle class, because I was not middle class,
Mhm.
never have
Yeah,
been. But
that's why.
apart from that, I was pretty much perceived in the same way. I liked the guys. I was perceived as a woman or as a girl. Um, I I was white. I had the best grades of the class. So, like, yeah, I was pretty much perceived that way. So that's why I also
Yeah,
had
that's.
power and protection.
And she was also. No, she was also a musician, by the way.
Yeah, so I've heard, which has nothing
So
to do with it.
I know, but just the coincidence. That's because I was That's
Yeah,
why I
so I
find
know
it so
you
funny
like
because
I
it
know
makes
you
sense.
like to shade musicians, but not on my realm. I
No,
can mute
actually,
you. I have the power to just mute you.
no,
I
no.
do. I can do
I will
that.
shade.
I will do it.
I will only shade musicians that don't come from poor classes. That's
My dear. But like, okay, just because a musician comes from middle class doesn't mean they're gonna be shit. Like, sheesh. Damn, like that's a little bit
so I cannot really shade musicians, right? No, I don't have.
No, because you don't really have a reason to that. It's not like musicians are like a very powerful group with a lot of privilege at all.
I
Have you
know.
looked at our our working
No,
conditions?
no, no. I'm talking. Oh my goodness. I know. I was talking about those batch. You know.
No, I don't think that anyone knows what Betsy is here because no one here is Portuguese apart from you and me.
I
But
know,
yeah.
but I was talking to you. Preppish people, preppish that they come from this like uh, very cultured families, like very noble families, and they decide to put their kids in music classes and that type of thing. Like I can shade those, like those guys. That's what I meant. I'm actually getting nowhere with this.
Yeah, no, you are kind of just justifying why you're being a dick. Sorry.
Uh, Fine, I will not shade musicians. Go
Thank
on.
you.
Fine. Jesus fucking Christ. I cannot even be shit on this thing.
No, you cannot. The point is to deconstruct things, is not to put more stereotypes on things and just shade entire groups just because. That's the whole
Makes all,
point.
to be honest, makes all sense, so I should stop.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, but that's why because that's why I also assumed that you would do the type of provocation bullying, but I was proven wrong, and it turned out to be more
Yes,
interesting.
because you were just like, oh, they look kind of similar. They are even musicians, so like they probably did the things the
No,
exact
I
way.
was no. I didn't associate musicians with bullying. Okay, this was a joke.
Okay.
I was that was not. Mm.
Anyway, no, I was really a more physical person. I I had something to prove apparently. Probably to myself, really to myself. Then I felt terrible
What
about
it
it.
could be, what it could be. I'm really wondering what you could
It
actually prove it yourself.
it's called the transness. Anyway,
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that answer.
mhm. Yeah,
Incredibly surprised.
I literally only stopped when one of the kids I used to bully was institutionalized, not because of anything I did, but because his dad went to prison and he was taken away from his mom. And I found this out because I found out his backpack on the lost items room because I was looking for something that I lost because I was always losing things, of course, because ADHD. And I went there and I saw his backpack and I recognized it and I asked the guy that was taking care of the room if I could take it with me because I knew the kid and we when we actually sit next to each other on the bus because we had like pre-established sitting places. And he told me that I couldn't and I insisted like I can't just take it to him. I guess I was having a little bit of humanity back there just for 2 seconds. Um, and he tells me that there was no point because the kid was no longer in school. So like the backpack was there, but he was just institutionalized and the backpack was left behind somehow and they just put it on the lost items room for some fucking reason. I still don't understand to this day why or how because it doesn't make sense in my head. Like I look back and I'm like, why would they do that? Like if they, you know, took the kid to an institution to, you know, live there or be adopted or whatever was his destiny, his fate, why did his backpack stay behind? I have no fucking clue. I don't know And if it's stay behind, why on the lost items room? I don't have answers for that. It doesn't make any sense in my head, but that's what happened. And in that moment, I was extremely shaken by that. But if you think that I just stopped bullying people because I felt bad, no, 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 no. I was way too addicted to the power trip that it would give me. No, listen, I would,
Sorry.
while doing it, feel incredibly good about myself because I would feel powerful, and after that, I would feel extremely guilty. I would feel disgust. It was an addiction. It was kind of an addiction. It was working to me like an addiction. Um, so I only really stopped by tricking myself with mental strategies like, what would people that you admire think if they found out that you were doing this? They would think that you are a pretty bad person because that's what you are being. So if you actually want to be deserving of other people's admiration, you gotta kind of, step up your game and kind of be a decent person. And that's kind of how I tricked myself into starting being a little bit of a better person at first. Uh, but yeah, also a thing I didn't mention, and I don't think I ever mentioned this, but one of the reasons, because like this boy that was institutionalized was definitely the person that I would beat up the most because he sit next to me on the bus, and I was extremely mad about that because I really hated sitting there. And the reason why I did hate sitting there was because the kid smelled terribly. I don't think you understand that poor kid probably didn't have a shower in like 2 months or something. Uh, and well, the reason for that is because he had a terribly dysfunctional family, of course. But I am autistic, and I would get extremely sensorily overwhelmed, and I would blame him for smelling bad, like just take a fucking shower. And I actually never called him out on that. I was never verbally abusive towards him because of that. But I would be overwhelmed and I would feel disgusted. And that's one of the reasons why I chose him specifically as one of my victims, was because I was extremely overwhelmed by that. I hated that I had to sit there because of the smell. I was having meltdowns there. I was being aggressive partially because I was having meltdowns. On the other
Interesting.
hand, it's very sad that that kid in specific, he didn't really have any friends. So like he would share some things about his day and his life with me. And when I learned news about his dad being in prison, I was like, that makes sense, because he like showed me money from other countries, and I assumed that came from shady business that he had and stuff like that. And he would share those with me. He would be like showing that as if it was a curiosity. Look at this money that is from whatever place, or this fuck, how you say, it's not a coin, it's the other thing, the piece of paper that is
Cash.
money. Yeah, he would show me just the cash and showing me how it was different and all of that. And
Oh,
he
the
would
bills. The
yeah,
bills.
he would show me the bills. Like he would share some things that would go on in his life as if I was his friend, which was pretty messed up because that kid literally had no one to talk to. So it was very messed up because I was abusing him. I was his bully, but on the other hand, he would talk to me as if I was his friend. Very messed up. Very messed up.
Yes,
And
okay.
then there was another guy in my class that I remember that I used to beat up. And then when I stopped doing that, I actually felt bad and started giving him food because his mom would deprive him from having like food because he was fat. So she wouldn't give him food to have on like breaks. And I started sharing my my food with him. And there was also another kid that I used to beat because he had some kind of problem. I don't know what his problem was, but he just had the urge sometimes to just undress himself. And I very much disliked it because you just imagine you have like a guy that just randomly puts his pants down, like at any point. Um, yeah, so he would just do that, and I just beat the shit out of him sometimes. Um, and he actually started being my desk partner after I stopped being a dick, and I just kind of helped him with his hey Jazz Cat, with his homework and like his things during class. So I think that like it's it's interesting to me looking back how from the people that I used to bully, like one was removed from my life and gave me that slap that I needed of like you're being an absolute dick. And then all the others I started trying to engage with them in ways that would benefit them. And it wasn't to make me, or rather, it was because I felt guilty, of course, but I was just genuinely trying to make up for the things I've done. And I was just genuinely trying to improve myself as a person. Um, and and just I guess trying to get to a place where I could like myself, which I did. To me, stopping the process of bullying others was a process of learning how to like myself, and that helped me cope with the people that were still bullying me. Not that it solved anything, because I was still bullied for many years after that. Uh, but it definitely helped me come to terms with the person that I was, just through a very messed up kind of process.
I see. Well, you had to do your own redemption arc anyway. And those were
Yeah,
the
it was
characters
really my
behind that.
my redemption arc. And in a way it only happened exactly because I am autistic, and I did a lot of brain work there. Like I would have
Mental
entire
gymnastics.
I would have entire hours of just sitting and reflecting on what I did and what I was doing and why I like myself, and or why I didn't, and what I could do to improve myself. So imagine I knew that I had done things that I regretted and that I felt terrible about. How could I start being a person that, I wouldn't feel like, that way about, and I get that process of self analysis was really what made me go through my redemption arc. And it saved me in a way, in the sense that I do believe that, considering certain things that later on went in my life, if I didn't like myself, I probably, in TW here, I probably would have committed suicide at some point, straight up, because I think that it was
Mm,
really the fact that I liked myself, that I came to terms with the person that I was, that allowed me to just keep on living, because I like myself. And that was work that was done when I was 12 years old.
it's interesting that you mentioned suicidal behavior. So I would maintain a trigger warning here. Um, so it's very interesting that my first pair of suicidal behavior, which means not, it's a behavior that is mimic a suicidal attempt or suicidal behavior, was when I was 13. I I closed myself in the bathroom. Um, that's I used to do. Like to avoid bullying, I would close myself to the bathroom for long periods of time during the recess and the other periods of time that I would have that I would not have class.
Our bathrooms were
So
too
I closed.
smelly for that, unfortunately.
Mine were also as well, but I would
Oh, I
still
don't
have to
think
deal
you
with the smell
understand.
anyway.
I don't think you understand. The guy's
Okay,
bathroom had
okay,
like a thing on the floor, like a just a spot where they would be instead of being on the urinals. Like the urinals were on the walls, and it had just this spot in the middle where they would collectively pee. This was a thing that happened. They invited us, quote unquote, girls to enter and watch, and most of them didn't. But I was like, no, I want to see. I want to enter the guy's bathroom, and I saw it. It was absolutely disgusting, and I can tell you that the girls one was not much better.
okay. So this was the the atmosphere. I didn't soften up. So I would, yeah. So the bathrooms of my school didn't were not originally like extent. They were disgusting, but not that level of disgusting. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I closed myself in the bathroom, and I had a small wallet that I would carry. Like, yeah, it's a bag. Like it's not a wallet. It's just a bag. It was like with a whole, yeah. Um, that would carry my documents. So I took off my back, and I decided to pretend that it was um, how do you say
String kind of deal, belt,
a hanging rope, basically.
rope.
That
There we
was
go.
like, yeah, yes, I was tied up on my neck, like literally I was just tied up, and then I was like, I just want to die today, you know. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
And I was 13. That's very interesting because it tends to be at least my most common parasocial behavior. That's very interesting. That it was like the first, and it, yeah, just become my most common go-to technique, the tactic of considering to commit suicide. And I guess I was just very tired of like dealing with the most vile cruelty that human beings could actually inflict, at least in my perception at the time. Because at the time I thought, like, are you really bullying a disabled kid? Really? Um, but that's the thing that happens. Like, people think that disabled kids are really protected. You know, they're just like they're segregated in their special needs class. You know, but we are pretty much bullied. You know, and
I mean, weren't you bullied by teachers?
that as well. But they didn't know I was disabled. I was being perceived, but I didn't know. But because there's like a difference, like, oh, I have a disability, I should protect, I should not say anything because they would, because then I got screwed. Or there's like, I see this kid is very weird and very, uh, not very normal, and I will bully the shit out of them. There's
Yeah,
like,
it's like you have a green pass to be weird if you have a disability label put on you. Until then, you are just weird and you're gonna suffer because of it.
yeah. So yeah, I have a philosophy teacher that decided to mock my speech patterns, and also my posture twice in on that year. Um, there's other stuff, you know, and yeah, on college as well. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I was repressing that, you know, honestly. Uh, there was actually one. Yeah, I don't know if I told this. So I wouldn't say anything.
Huh?
Weren't you going to say anything? Oh,
I was, but I wasn't. I just remembered something randomly, which was that I do remember still not really suffering bullying per se, but more like people still
mm.
saying very rude shit behind my back
Oh yeah.
during college that then gets to me.
Oh
It's just like people straight up calling me crazy behind my back because of the way I acted.
I see. Oh yeah.
But by the way,
There's
the
actually.
crazy thing, the extremely, the thing that should absolutely crucify me was because I like to walk barefoot. By the way, that makes me crazy. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Don't you hear the news? Walking barefoot is the new level of craziness.
Man,
You
no
should
one
be
cares.
institutionalized.
In June, there's no one else at college. The only thing that I have to do left is my violin exam at the end of the month. There is no classes anymore. I just have an entire month to just practice the violin and prepare my repertoire for that exam. And I have a room for my own. I just get to college, I ask for a key, I get a room for my own for the entirety of the day. I am not gonna stay there with my shoes on and just dressing all cutesy and whatever. No, I pretty much just had a dress, panties, and nothing else on my body because it's fucking hot. I didn't care. And I would just, when I was practicing, I just sometimes needed to, get some snack or just go outside and get some fresh air. And I just wouldn't care to put anything else on, like, on, not on my feet, not anything. And like, apparently that was a big deal, even though I wasn't really, showing anything or being provocative or whatever anyone could ever think of, because like I wasn't even accused of any of that. It's just, I was just crazy because I want to be comfortable. Being comfortable is a sin, in terms of
I don't know.
societal rules. It's a
I just
sin.
found, I just found very interesting the fact that People praise the idea of like, oh, being different, being uh, against the against standards and norms, and then you just keep shaming and judging people that are indeed different from the standard or go outside the norms. It's a very
Oh yeah, it's like be different, but not in that way.
not in a way. I was also like that, you know. No, no, no. Sorry, I was not like that. Okay. I was like in college, weird things that I did. I don't know. I sometimes I wanted to play characters. That's the thing that I used to have because it was a way of I think coping with the fact that I had to mask as neurotypical and
Hmm.
as a cis gal, a cis straight gal. So I would do character scope with that fact, and I would kind of pretend I would be someone else. Usually, some I don't know. There were characters like, for example, I would pretend to be a witch sometimes. I would pretend to be don't know. I
Hmm.
don't no longer remember the characters, and
I
people would
can
just
relate
find
to
this
that.
yes because we are so autistic.
I mean, yeah, like I today binged an entire series, and honestly, I feel so much better because I only grow and I can only process things about myself when I watch media. It's like it or read a book or watch something. I can't really engage with it. I just need to absorb whatever the media has to give me. And that's the only way I can actually just feel like myself sometimes.
Mm,
And I was missing out on that for months and months and months. And now that I restarted watching stuff, I really noticed the difference. So like I relate. Like it's not that
yeah.
I behave like the characters a lot of times afterwards. Sometimes I do, but some a lot of times I don't. But I do relate with the having to engage with fiction in a way and incorporate that onto yourself in order to cope with stuff. I do relate to that.
Oh, no. I tend because I also did like this past 2 weeks. I did a lot of introspection, and actually, I'm more normative about that. Like, I just go to some place and do some introspection, and but I was doing that all the time. Like, it was getting a little bit overwhelming sometimes. But I was doing a lot of introspection, and I found out a certain things about myself and what is happening in my life. I think basically the whole poet image that is there on the timeline. I was just in that position, you know, like,
That's
yes,
accurate Rimby for y'all.
yeah, it's very awkward. That's why I chose it. 'Cause,
It's beautiful. I mean,
uh,
that is also very accurate toad. You see that both sitting?
yeah,
See
yeah,
that you cannot even understand how that toad is kind of sitting? Yeah, that's me.
and also because they look very like confident and
But they're not.
energetic.
That toad is dying inside. You can tell if you look into
Yeah,
those eyes. If you look into those toad eyes, like for as confident as I look, you can tell that toad is dying inside. You just know. Just look into those eyes. Poor bastard.
and the poet is like, yeah, they just swept with doom. Like, yeah, I've seen some really messed up shit. Okay, so back to the point.
Sorry, yeah.
I know I was also guilty of this tangent. And I would get called certain things, like I was not making eye contact as much. I was, why I didn't have any interest in boys. That was kind of like, or even sex at the time. That was very interesting. Not because I was one, not very to cis
Oh, that's
guys,
another thing. Sorry.
and two, I was pretty much asexual. So here's that. And people were not understanding that, of course. And also, I don't know. There was just some messed up things. Uh, like I already told you, like, and also on this podcast, that someone actually asked me why I didn't do anything to stop my bullying experiences. That same person was the one that also told me that I looked very traumatized my first day of school. You know, and I was
What a good
traumatized.
start. I mean, was the person just being a little bit awkward and not really knowing how to explain themselves? Because I can imagine me saying something very dumb like that, but like with the best of intentions.
I would agree with that, but slightly, because the person was a little bit insensitive by nature.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, so
but
is
yeah,
me.
yeah, probably. Uh, but actually, I want to go a little backwards now, since we touched like why you didn't do anything about the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because I didn't psychoanalyze myself as Toad did. I had I have a lot of low self esteem issues at the time. Still have. But I know it's very surprising. I know, and
Oh,
I
sorry, I forgot
guess
to act surprised. Oh my god, really?
okay. Yeah. So you are indeed surprised by this revelation. I know that I do have a penis. So
What the?
I had to make this random joke. I'm so sorry. Um,
What the heck?
it was out of nowhere.
Look
It was
at my
unexpected.
enormous penis. You started it.
I know. Uh, this is why, like, this is a comedy on its goal. Like, it's
Good.
unexpected.
This is top
Just
tier
kidding.
content. That's why you come here. It's for the good content. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is anyway. Um, and I was pretty anxious. This, I'm sorry. This is surprising. I know. But I was too anxious, really, and I was. Oh my goodness! I say that I'm semi-verbal right now, but I was even worse at. Not okay. I will not say worse, but I was more semi-verbal than I am right now, because I was just anxious all the time, and I could not talk, and I could not approach other people. So I was like, uh, and well, and I didn't have that much friends, and basically my bully was basically the only friend that remained because I lost many friends when I reached to middle school, and she was literally my only friend. And actually, I kind of relate to the when you say like you were kind of befriended, befriendly with the boy in the on the bus that you knew,
I mean,
because
he
I didn't know that
considered me
much
a
people.
friend. I didn't. I only realized that afterwards.
Okay, but I was like, but I was considered my I'm, I'm considering my case, and my case was I was very close friends with that bully actually. We would go to each other's house and such, and she decided she took advantage of that, and she was extremely manipulative. She and I was also uh, I took some rides. Her father actually rided me to volleyball classes and swimming classes because I didn't have someone to drive me, and so there was this already unbalanced class issue. Words is are getting a little hard here. We're unbalanced in terms of class. That's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so there's a lot of power dynamics here, and I was the neurodivergent kid, uh, and she was not neurodivergent by my knowledge. And so basically, she would play with this all types of power dynamics, and also I was kind of queer looking, and she wasn't. It was a lot about of power dynamics in school, and it was just so messed up, really, because I trusted that girl so much. You know, I told her very intimate stuff at the time, and she just used that information against me. And of course, I would have trust issues because imagine just telling you some very intimate things, and she would tell the other peeps. And yeah, and so I became paranoid, and I am, right? With the whole like, oh, they all know about me, they all know my secrets. And I couldn't go, for example, to my town's um, feasts. Okay, like because I would find classmates and they would probably look at me and gaze at me, and it would be so extremely disturbing. And even I avoided to go to the beach. That's how um, triggered I went, because I know that some classmates went there, and they would make fun of me, or at least I was afraid of, and I would avoid going to the beach, and I avoided for like years. And and it deeply traumatized me. I know, it's the ghost I still haunts you. Um, I do still think it kind of influences my the way that I am in relationships. I mean, even less nowadays. But I
Yeah, it definitely does.
yeah, especially because I have suspicion of ACD. So basically, the intrusive thoughts they probably also come from my own experiences, and I cannot tell, of course, but they're there. It's like the person is lying. They're telling lies to me. I shouldn't trust this person. This relationship, they're being fake about it. They're not being genuine. They're just manipulating me. All those thoughts, they can stem from bullying. My bullying experiences, and that can be terrifying because the person you have all the reasons to believe this relationship is healthy, and I mean. Uh, but you don't. You just live in this state of paranoia that when the person does something that seems a little fishy to you, start to go into this very circle in your head, and you think like, no, they're lying to me. They don't love me. They're lying. They're manipulating me. It's awful. And it's very interesting because I did notice your um, manipulative tendencies early on, and I was like, this is a little bit alarming. Uh, and I did call you out at the time, I think, because I was being hyper aware. I know, surprising.
Yeah, but I guess it becomes a little bit unfair because, yes, I did develop manipulative skills, which are not necessarily manipulative tendencies. There's a huge
Sorry,
difference there.
sorry.
And hey, Tatson. Also, Rimbi, can you see chat?
No, that's
Okay,
why. And
because Jesscat says that he feels for you and that he can relate. Um,
thank you very much. I forgot to greet you people because I was focused here. So, hello, Cheska. Hello, Tatsin. I'm so sorry for not greeting you earlier. I'm
Tatson
very
just
glad that you are
arrived.
here. Us.
Um, but I was gonna say, just because I have those skills, it doesn't mean that I have manipulative tendencies. What you saw was me using the skills that I have, not in a manipulative way per se, but more like when I see a thing in which I can help. Sometimes what I try to do is when I know that sometimes people are not ready to address a subject like right away or very directly, I try to go around the subject to see if the person can talk about it or if they are ready to receive some information about it. For example, they are going
Wasn't that
through
time?
some, imagine that the person is going through some kind of struggle, and I know why they're going through that kind of struggle. I need to understand if that person can be reached in order to 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 talk about this and to address those. And I can only know this through some, I guess, kind of manipulation, which is trying to get information out of the person without them really understanding what I'm doing, so that then I can decide what I can give or not, because I am not going to deliver information that is just going to be more traumatizing or is just going to be against their own development. I'm not going to be evil like that. So I guess I am using indeed manipulative skills, but I am not trying to manipulate anyone, really. I am just trying to understand when I can deliver information in the best way so that everyone gets the best out of it, you know? And yes, I did learn that by being a manipulative piece of shit, but it's not what I'm doing.
Sorry, I stand corrected, and I'm good. I'm being good with words today.
That is fine. I guess I just felt like you were misrepresenting a little bit
Mhm,
because yes, I do get scared that I am
mhm,
manipulating others because I know I have the ability to, and it's a thing that I really constantly have to double check. It's like, am I gaslighting this person? Am I
mm,
forcing this person to do something they don't want to? Because I know I'm a good talker sometimes, and I can really convince people to do things I want them to if I really want that or if I really need it. But it's like I always have to like step back and go like, okay, are you doing this because you want to? Because I influenced your decision? Like, what is going on? I constantly have to do this kind of work, and it's extremely exhausting for me as well because
hmm.
I know that subconsciously I might be doing things in a way that is leading for others. I know I have the skills to attract people around me and for people to like me. Um, so I have to be extremely careful with those and the way I use them in order to not hurt them because I learned those in order to protect myself. So yeah.
So,
Also, things I wanted to say, commenting, or rather, sharing my own experience with the things that you were saying, which is about making fun of liking people. I forgot to say, I was so mocked about liking this one guy. Like, I had this huge crush for like 5 years since grade five, beginning of grade five to the end of grade nine. And it was like my, I guess, first love or whatever. And like, I just had the hugest crush on this guy. And God, everyone would make fun of me because of it, because I was extremely obvious because I'm fucking autistic and I just really like him. I wanted him to be happy and all, and people would just like be extremely mean about it, especially when he started dating another girl. People started just making jokes about how I wanted them to
oh
break up, and
no,
that absolutely broke me at the time. I
no.
did gain a friend because of it, because I was extremely frustrated and I was just like this kid that was extremely lonely in our class and I never really talked to him. And I saw him and we were both waiting to go to the computer room I just info dumped him there. Like, people are making fun of me because of this and they are saying things that are not right. They are saying that I want them to break up. I don't want them to break up. I want them to be happy because I like him, therefore I want him to be happy. That, like, it wouldn't make sense if I wanted them to break up because that means I wouldn't really like him. So like, what is even the point of this all? And we just started walking around the school and I gained a friend like that because I decided to just info dump this poor kid on my love trauma. I don't know, dude. So yeah, but it was extremely frustrating because people would just try to, they would make fun, they would try to, I guess, even help, but help in a very messed up way and always just making my life absolute hell on account of that. They tried to turn me against another person that also liked him by telling me, and then we would just bonded over it. Like, I sit next to them, they are non-binary as well. I sit next to them on the bus like it was a school trip. They were from the different class and all. I sit there and I'm like, so I heard you like my crush, and they're like, yeah, yeah, I heard you like them. I heard you like him too, and I'm like, yeah, hell yes, you have good taste. And then we just bonded and we became friends. We're still friends. So like, I don't know what people were trying to do, but they would always try to find ways of making me feel bad about liking this one guy. That was a whole deal during the entirety of middle school. I hated the entirety of it. God, I hated it. I
Oh
guess
my
good
god, that's
thing.
so gay.
Oh yeah.
That was incredibly gay. That's why people were making fun of you. They were being piece of shit.
Yeah, but me and the other people just became friends because we liked the same guy and we were just like, ah, we have absolutely no chance. And they were like, yeah, I know. Okay, let's just be friends.
That is so cute. I'm so sorry.
Uh, but yeah, I started being bullied. I think I don't have a lot of memories from from kindergarten. What I do have the memories from kindergarten are dysphoric memories of people not letting me play as the guy during weddings. I remember that. I do have dysphoric memories from
Oh,
kindergarten.
oh.
But in terms of bullying, I mean, not really. It was really just people casting me aside during primary school. It was really more the you can't play with us. I was always the kid that other kids did not want to play with, rather than actively bullying me. Except for that one guy that threw a rock at me for some fucking reason. I don't know. There were just two of them, and just do it. I guess they were doing it for fun. I was like a bird or something. I don't get it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really just the thing of like not letting me play soccer with them, with the guys, because I was not a guy apparently. Um,
Tragic.
yeah, no, it was incredibly tragic. Okay,
I know, I'm sorry.
when I started owning the ball and deciding who played and not, it was incredibly powerful because suddenly I was the owner of the ball. I don't think you understand. No one should have given me that
No, I
power.
don't. I don't, because I don't like soccer.
Dude, some of the best memories I have are related to that. It's just like
I respect that.
in middle school, like we had this illegal place to play soccer because like if the people that work there found us playing there, they would like write papers and like even suspend us because it's just you couldn't play there. And I became a very good player there to the point that the feminine team of how do you say futsal? Is this futsal? It's probably not. It's like soccer but with 5 people. Um, they came to me and asked me to join the team because they knew that I was a very good player at the illegal games going on.
And I suck at it. I never.
I was very good. Like, it got to the point
Oh
that
my.
like guys, like you know how they don't like girls play, and that was literally my entire life. But they would start asking me to play with them because I was actually a good player.
You defied the stereotype. That's. I mean, in a way, I mean, though you were a guy, I. So I. This is very confusing. Like
Listen,
genders are confusing, and
I
how
just
you are
have some.
perceived.
It's like one of the few memories of the good memories that I have from middle school. So like, I know that it's sexist bullshit, but I will keep it. Okay, just let me be happy here with my illusion for
I'm
like five
so.
minutes, and
Okay, I
it's fine.
will let you.
Yeah,
When I
but yeah,
was.
like I feel like
You're talking about.
active bullying was really when I entered fifth grade because suddenly we had kids from 10 years old to 20 in the same school,
Yeah.
and it was a lot. We are also younger kids. Sometimes we were passing on a corridor, and there were like older peeps on each wall, and they would like start like hitting us, and we would have to like put our hands in our head so that we wouldn't get like slapped. You know, that was also a
Mhm.
thing that just randomly happened.
Oh my
And
goodness, I didn't. I don't think in my school we dealt with that much physical bullying. I think.
for me it was mostly not physical. It was really just people usually that were like 2 to 3 years older than me. They were incredibly aggressive verbally, mostly that. But also they would like hit us with bags in the hands when we were just randomly passing on the corridor. Like they wouldn't really hurt us, but they would still be physically aggressive. There was
Yeah, I
no
remember
point
one guy.
in even reporting to the teachers because if you went to say, "Oh, they did that on the corridor,"
They don't care.
they'd be like, "Oh, but they didn't really hurt you, right? Like you're fine. Like this is, I mean, there's nothing really we can do about that." And be like, that there
Yeah,
was really no point in
just
telling anyone because
suck
just
it
like
up.
kids
Yeah,
being kids, yeah, just suck it up.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
remember one guy. I was in fifth grade. One guy decided to steal my backpack and put it in the trash, and I had to take the fucking backpack
dude,
in the garbage bin. Yeah,
dude, I
yeah.
had
He's
a
gonna tell
PE
boys.
bag taken away from me from the bar, and then it appeared on the roof of the school. I never saw it again because it was when I left school 3 years later, it was still on the fucking roof of the school. They would just sometimes randomly steal them and throw them to the roof of the school, and there they were.
Okay, fine, you made it worse. This is what it turned to into a competition of traumas. This is
Well,
what we're
it's
getting
listen.
to.
I don't even look at this and see it as traumatic per se, because when I saw, like, it was more traumatic
Me
getting
neither.
home and telling my parents, because then they would get extremely mad because we were not rich, and then they would have to buy me new equipment and all of that. Like, that was the bad part, because when I remember just going down the stairs and looking at it and be like, wait, that is mine. What the fuck? I would just be so absolutely baffled at it that I couldn't even be mad per se. I was just like, how and why? Why would anyone do that? It's like a thing that you can't even process. It's just like a thing that exists and that has no possible logical explanation, and you just have to accept it, kind of deal. So I don't even see it as traumatic per se, because I just remember being like, what the actual fuck? It's just
Dude,
the when I talk about this, I actually have to distance myself from all the empathy that I have, and I just have to talk about it very lightheartedly, because if I get emotionally engaged with this, I like it's very messed up, and I will start being like very uncomfortable. So I have to just put myself in my middle schooler mindset and just look at this and go like, what the fuck, and laugh it off.
I somehow can become distant, but not in. I don't know. It's just become distant. Like when I talk about retrospective memories, I go way, way, way back. I don't get that much emotional. I think because it's way. It's been 10 years. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
while.
Hmm.
I don't know. I deal with a lot of bullshit. Uh, I do remember one bully. Um, she was also a gal, and she was type of more petty. She was like your typical mean girl. She was very, very pretty. And then I noticed that the bullying came more from a place of spite, but also kind of, I don't know, can I say envy? I don't know. Or jealousy, I think. I don't know. Just kind of like your weird limerence. Like some sense of limerence that I was suspecting there because she could actually be friendly to me and then she would be petty. And then out of no blue, and then I climbed the stairs like one time. She was waiting outside in the classroom, and then she asked me out of the blue, "Are you bisexual?" And that thing
Sorry, that one is kind of funny.
is very funny. And I was like, no,
I wish
um,
that people had asked me when I was a kid, like, "Are you a guy?" So that I could be like, maybe I am. I mean, I did
no.
question that, but I came up with the worst answer possible to that. So sorry, I'm not gonna get into that. Go on.
But and it gets still bring me like that question. Why you are asking me that? Are you just joking around, or you mean something serious? And because she used to be provocative, she used to ask me provocative questions. But that one was so out of the blue that I was like, and everyone were all alone. Like we were all in the first floor. There's nobody around there, and she asked me that. I was like, girl, do you have a crush on me? Please. I do understand that you have a crush on me. I know it's very easy to fall in love with me. I do understand. I do understand. Especially because apparently some people that have great manipulative skills tend to fall in love with me, so I guess it's a pattern.
I actually have such a funny story, but it's not related to bullying though, but it's kind of related to what you just said, which is like there was this person that I met almost 4 years ago. And like when I met them, I was like, oh man, that dude is so out of my league. Like so out of my league. And apparently they thought that I was a lesbian. And then I started dating one of my partners, and they were like, aha, bye. But I just didn't even interact much with them because they were in a relationship at the time. And I was like, okay, they're in a relationship, therefore, monogamy shit, I'm not gonna touch that. Also, completely out of my league. The person is absolutely gorgeous. Turns out they had a crush on me. Uh, and the reason they didn't approach me was because they thought I was a lesbian.
And even nowadays, you kind of look like a butch, so
I know.
not a
I'm
wrong.
just I'm just trans, okay? Just leave me alone. I like guys a lot. And they're
It's
not even a
unfortunate because
guy.
I'm not a guy.
They're gender fluid. They're not a guy even. Yeah, that was just what a fucking mess. I was like, oh man, that guy's so out of my league. Them, not a guy. Not out of my league. Them, damn, they're a lesbian. Cannot have anything with me. Me, not a lesbian. Very much into guys and also girls and anything in between.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So yeah, I've learned that not too long ago, and I've just been like face palming every single time I remember this, but like in a in a funny way, like it's like it's actually pretty funny, and I don't regret how things turned out. It's just like God, how are human beings so stupid?
They're like, I cannot even process this. I will process this later, I guess. Uh,
It's fine.
so, um, gosh, what I want to say? I don't know. Probably I just finished, I guess.
Sorry.
I don't know. Like I just acknowledge the fact that I have a bully that probably have a crush on me, and she,
Yeah.
she I don't know. Probably I will say probably, uh, because it was so weird. Like the question, just on that context. Like I know, and she was very pretty actually, but she was like the personality. I didn't like her personality. She was kind of like a mean girl, and I don't like. I like cool peeps. You're not a cool peep, so get off.
Mm-hmm.
Get off my boat.
You know, I I've been thinking for a while because like we have been meaning to do this topic for like a month now.
Yeah.
And I have been thinking a lot about this topic just because it has been on the back of my mind because I knew we were going to talk about this. And sometimes I'm like going online on Tumblr or something. Um and and like I see posts about other people that are kind of related to the subject, and I kind of came to a little bit of a conclusion that I mean it's no surprise, and I'm not what I'm going to say is not particularly enlightening in any way, but basically just how much different the perspective of people that have visible body disabilities, like how much different their experience is on this subject, because like we are here talking about how bully affected us and how we interacted with bully according to our disabilities, which are neurodivergencies. But I do see that a lot of people's experiences, other disabled people experiences on this are extremely different, and even mine and Rimbi's are different because I was not perceived as disabled. I was perceived as weird, and Rimbi was perceived as uh, as someone that had a disability, as autistic, and I wasn't. So here we already have two completely relations with it. I feel like if I had the kind of body pain that I have right now at the time, and it would stop me from engaging in a lot of activities, but I would be perceived as normal in terms of body. Like I would be perceived as able-bodied when I wouldn't be. My perspective would be completely different on this subject because I would feel left out from a lot of things, and people would put expectations on me and make fun of things that they thought that I should be able to do, and I would just fail at them and feel miserable about those. And if I was disabled bodied, my perspective would be completely different, and I can't even imagine how much different that would be because I cannot put myself in the mental space of that. I just cannot envision that because all my disabilities have been invisible for my entire life. So I guess I just wanted really to focus on that because I've
Mm.
been noticing more and more how much people inside the disability communities have been trying to advocate for different rights according to their positioning, and how much a lot of neurodivergent fight, for as much as it has um, things in which we have to fight together, there are just experiences that are specific to specific kinds of groups. You know, I feel like it's unfair if we claim that our experiences are representative of all disabilities, because they are not.
Yeah, we're not a monolith, but then again, there's for me, because I'm kind of like a weird limbo, as I talked before, which I can kind of be seen as visibly disabled in this sense. Uh,
Yes, but there's also the dimension of being able-bodied or not. Because
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. There's being visibly and invisibly disabled, and there's being able-bodied or neurodivergent. And any combination of these can happen. You can have both invisible and visible disabilities, and you can have both neurodivergencies or mental illnesses and physical disabilities. You know,
Oh
any
yeah. Because
combination of these can happen, and this is going to change your perspective on disability and in any topic a lot. And I feel like with bullying specifically is going to be one of those topics in which is going to be a very, very, very different perspective.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I
Because
guess I just want to be talking over anyone. And I've been seeing a lot of people going like, neurodivergent people, shut the fuck up when it comes to able body problems, or sorry, when it comes to disabled body problems, because you've been talking over us. And in a way it's true. In a way it's true, and
yes,
I'm talking from a point of view of someone that is not able bodied, but even then, I guess I just would like to rest assured with this note here.
I appreciate it. Um, very much this note, and I would like to add the fact. I want to. Well, mental illness is considered visible disability, doesn't it? Like certain mental illnesses. Mm. Yes, they are. I think.
I didn't understand your question, sorry.
Sorry, is mental illnesses are considered visible disabilities? There's
Visible.
some. I will not say all. Most of them are invisible disabilities, but
Multiple are going to be invisible. Some of them are somewhat visible, but
for example, OCD kind of falls into the visible and invisible
of
disability.
course, I mean,
Yes,
autism is the same.
yes,
But
and
OCD is
and
not
yes,
a
I'm
mental
sorry.
illness, is it? It's a neurodivergency. Or am I wrong?
Is a mental illness
Okay, sorry.
and also neurodivergency, but it's mostly known as a mental illness. And what happens is my suspicion, and this is not diagnosed, this is a suspicion. My autistic trait can actually become more pronounced with OCD. For example, I can go easily non-verbally if I'm having intrusive thoughts, and I can also be appearing as stimming, but it's not really stimming. It's compulsions really, and that's not good. And those are very overlapped with autism traits. That's why it's kind of like, oh, it's autism, but it isn't, because I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
this to reduce anxiety, not to just feel pleasure as it is with stimming. I want to add this
I mean, I seem to reduce
nuisance.
anxiety as well, but it comes from autism
Mm,
because it helps me ground myself. Stimming doesn't just necessarily mean that you are going to take just pleasure out of it. It can be used as means to ground yourself, to calm yourself down, even as autistics.
in the but it depends on the context as well. What
Of
why?
course it does.
Okay, then I'm sorry, I was then corrected then. But then when I tend to do, like, when I do compulsive, really it's just because you have intrusive thoughts and you need to do something to wash it over, you know. And
Okay, in specifically the case of intrusive thoughts, that makes sense.
you'll see, yes, yes, or rumination, any type of thing. You do the conversion to just suppress them, like no, like you do rituals and stuff. And oh no, I remember like these past few weeks, I was forgetting the fact that I was actually doing rituals before going to the thing, and I was like, I waste so many time actually doing the rituals. It could actually be considered as a dysfunction, but that's besides the point. I'm going a little off trail here. What I
Mhm.
want to say is like if they mix this particular mix of disabilities, they can make me more visibly disabled. It's very interesting, and that's the answer
Mhm.
that I needed to why I say more visibly autistic, quote unquote, of course, than other people, and probably it's this mix of like, um, and also anxiety as well. So that's why I can be seen as more visibly autistic.
I
But it
mean,
also kind of plays with how people neurotypicals perceive autism.
yeah, but you are visibly disabled. Like I can tell you that. I can pinpoint exactly what makes it so that other people get the perception on that because I guess I am guilty of the same. I can very
Curious.
well uh your posture, your way of walking, your way of talking, the way you move your hands when you're trying to explain stuff. Like basically your behavior is very specific to you, and you don't really act in a normative way. And because
My
of that I
hands.
can really tell, like you need to walk for like 5 meters for me to be able to tell. You have a very specific way of walking, you see. So like what I'm trying to say, and like I'm not saying this to
No,
make
no,
you
no.
feel
I get it.
self-conscious in any way, of course. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that
I
it's
already know. I know.
visible. It's
Hmm.
visible. People
Hmm.
can tell. Just I guess they can't tell what, because they're uneducated and they're not very empathetic, and they're ableist as fuck. But it's visible that there is something going on that is different.
Yes. I was surprised by the hands though.
Oh, you do a lot of shit with your hands. You keep on moving them around, and you keep on just going with them through your hair. And it's a really common autistic thing to do. I suffer from that as well. Is I just move my hands a lot when I talk, especially to the sides. I open my arms quite a lot, kind of unnecessarily, to explain my stuff. I just need to constantly be moving my hands when doing stuff, and I just sometimes do motions that are not really the most typical ones to
I
do when you're
sometimes do
explaining
like.
stuff. Like they become
Sorry.
a little bit stiff, and yours
Yeah.
become stiffer than mine. um
Duh.
so yeah, like.
Sometimes I do sign language sometimes even.
Hmm.
Mm. Uh. Oh
can i
yeah,
re-
yeah. I'm still sorry.
can I read Jazzcat's stuff,
Yes,
messages?
please.
So it was common knowledge in my primary school that I was ADHD. I remember being very upset that the teachers had talked to the class about me because I knew I would just be that it would just be
Hmm.
used against me by bullies. Now I completely understand that they were trying to help. And yeah, that is
Oh
another
yeah.
thing, which is we don't really have a say on what gets shared about us or not. It's like once someone knows you're disabled, it's really a question of luck in terms of where that information is going to end up at. It's a thing that I learned
Hmm.
even as an adult. Like if I tell someone that I am autistic, it's a wild card. I never know who is going to know because I told that one
Oh
person.
yeah.
And you never know what's going to be everyone's reaction after
Yeah.
that.
You can become paranoid. Yeah. Um.
It's not
I,
that I become paranoid because I've gotten to a point in my life that I just don't care unless it means I'm going to be fired.
my context is the school, and yes, if I told someone, I was afraid that the person will tell the teachers and stuff, and then I would get screwed or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was in a health degree and I was not supposed to be autistic. Well, things happened. So yes, I was paranoid because, well, well, because I was afraid that people would discriminate me or judge me as less than them, you know, which sometimes I was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was reluctant to say my diagnosis to other people. I don't tell my diagnosis to neurotypicals, um, for reasons, for obvious reasons. and there's like a lot of incentive, at least in just the community, to actually, I don't
Share
know,
the
to share the
diagnosis.
diagnosis, to share the diagnosis, and I was like, no, there's, it's not that
Yeah,
easy.
because then you suffer bully from your coworkers, because then it gets used as a card against you, because it's like, oh, you wouldn't understand, kind of deal, you know. It's
And I,
always used as a way to infantilize you, and it comes usually with microaggressions. It's not like something that, it's very obvious, but it's always a thing of like, there's always some kind of extra game going behind your back, as if you couldn't tell for yourself.
oh, that's good. Oh, that I actually hate the game because I know that people are thinking about me and they're talking shit about me, and
Oh
then
yeah.
because I do and I do have probably actually, and I start to overthinking. I'm like, oh no, they're thinking about me. What they're talking about me. That they're trying they're they're trying to screw me up or something. Like it's just it just be it, and it comes to the point that actually disables me because I'm always thinking they're always talking shit about me. It's impossible. Why? And I cannot just not care. I literally create my own hell out of people bad judgments, which they're going to happen. But I
Mm-hmm.
cannot still cope with that, because I'm afraid that they're going to uh, negatively impact me because
Mm-hmm.
trauma.
You're afraid of the consequences of that.
Mm.
I've gotten to a point in which I'm mostly not scared of those consequences. I'm actually way more scared about being trans than anything else. Like, I am okay with being with people knowing that I'm autistic or ADHD, but because I am in a position in which I people already know my work, and it's very unlikely that it's going to change all that much, or that I'm going to get actual serious repercussions out of it, because I can just pass as neurotypical. You know, I have that quote unquote privilege of just, I can just basically act normal, and therefore it won't be a problem. But I cannot act female. I cannot hide my transness as much as it's gotten to a point where my dysphoria has gotten so bad that if I dress something that is a little bit less masculine perceiving, I will just feel extremely uncomfortable. And I do get scared of that. That's literally the one thing I'm still very, very, very scared about. And the little circumstances in which I was semi forced to come out were could have been better, could have been worse, definitely, but could have been better.
You did
So
wait. You did come out because you share on Twitter like you did come out as a trans guy to some people. By the way, we're actually
was
decided to.
the it was a parent of a student that I give tutoring to, like, outside school. It's just like a private thing going on. And like, they're pretty nice people, and they asked a pretty direct question, and it was literally coming out or lying.
I do understand.
So it felt wrong to lie to them, because usually they are very open-minded. It's not that they weren't that they were rude, or but god, the lack of awareness and even empathy, because it's like, oh, but we can still then name you, right? And I'm like, no,
No, please.
no. But like, the way they ask you, it's literally forcing you to say yes, and that made me incredibly uncomfortable, as you might imagine. um so yeah,
Mm.
that's definitely, I'm definitely way more uncomfortable with that right now than with disability. But really, because I'm in a place, and I've been working for long enough in most places where I am at, that it's not really going to make much of a difference. Some of the people I work for even know that I'm neurodivergent, and it's not like they understand. It's not like not if anything's changed, but well, they know, they have the knowledge, and probably most of them just
Oh,
forgot,
yeah, 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 yeah,
straight up.
yeah,
I do know
yeah.
that there's one particular guy that I'm pretty sure
Sorry.
he just straight up doesn't remember. He's a very
I
cool
just
guy. He's a pretty cool guy. I because like when I said, he was like, "Oh, really? Huh?" And just shrugged it off.
I mean, I mean,
Honestly, best reaction I could expect from like middle-aged dude.
I wish. Um, I think we're seeing a parallel here because I don't have that much issues with me, um, with my transness. I mean, because I'm also, I'm not also, I'm not, okay, I'm not minority, sorry. And so I had this thing that is kind of like this passing, kind of
You are not
fail.
cis-passing. You are so queer looking. Don't
Shut
even.
up, shut up,
You are very queer looking. You just cut
shut
your
up.
hair.
I didn't cut you my hair. Um, I tried. I went to the hairstylist, but then I was like, dude, I have no money. Boy, I forgot the cash. Like I have all I did the whole commute. Like I went to class and then after that I was like, I'm going to the hairstylist and then I arrived there like there's no money. Like, how am I going to pay the haircut?
I have no words for this. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm gonna read Jessica's messages. It's only been in the past 3 or 4 years that I've accepted it about myself. I appreciate. Oh, because he also said I kept my ADHD hidden as best as I could up until recently. Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing here so much because it's things like this normalizing your divergence that has helped me accept it about myself.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm right there with
I'm
you,
also
Sarambo, as well. I don't know what I was referring to because I was a while ago when I spaced out. But Just Cat is there with you. Whatever it is, Just Cat is there with you.
oh, thank you very much. Are you you're also the same person, or you're also Jessica, so you can possess you. So
Yes, I am
in that
taking this as a
sense, you
compliment to myself. Like what you're saying to Jazz Cat, I'm just taking it all to myself because we are literally the same guy. Clearly, what's happening here.
yes. And I was trying to finish my non-binary comment until the reading of the messages interrupt me. I do appreciate it. Don't I do appreciate it. I was just trying to come back to
Sorry.
the point. I know you're not sorry. Um, so that and I mean this passing is like because I don't feel like a guy, and I can be still but also not a woman as well. Like I know it's weird. I cannot even compute this. Um, and so it's not. I don't feel that much dysphoric because I'm kind of gender neutral. I know. Uh, it doesn't help that I'm also gender fluid. So, um,
Oh, no,
so
it does help. Good, keep it up.
what? Why keep it up? What?
It makes your life easier than just,
Uh,
you know,
oh yeah, yeah,
being
because I
literally a
can
guy.
being with. Oh yeah, because I do recognize a certain level of privilege that I have because I don't identify fully as a guy or identify fully as a.
I mean, still
Okay,
trans.
yes, but people don't perceive it as an actual thing. Like it doesn't seem as
Oh, yeah, the
serious.
privilege of being invisible. Guys, you heard
Yes,
it here first. It's a privilege to be invisible.
yes, it is a privilege to be erased.
Please.
It is indeed a
My
privilege
person,
to.
no. No.
It's a privilege.
No.
It's a
God
privilege that
dang it.
it's a privilege that you see. I am completely valid by society. I'm sorry, this was not convincing. But yes, because but here's the thing, like I was, but there's a sense of longing, to be just gender confusing to people. Like, oh, I'm always perceived as a woman. Great, great. I mean, it's not like I use masculine pronouns to also distance myself from being perceived as female, but whatever. Ah, why are people like this? Like they just see like a person that looks like a little bit gender ambiguous, and they still go, "It's a woman." Why it's a woman? Well, because um, I don't know. I genuinely don't know because I'm short, because I have long hair, because I have a high pitched voice. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand, really. I don't understand gender roles even. Like the thing, like masculinity and femininity, what those things are. They are a set of human arbitrary traits. That's what they are. Like that's what you get. Like the traits of masculinity and the traits in femininity. And for me, those don't make any sense. And so you should just abolish gender so we don't have to worry about this type of stuff.
Don't abolish gender. I like my masculinity. Bye.
Okay. Okay, I do respect your masculinity because you do identify with it and you feel happy with it, and I should respect that, and I actually accept that, and actually I like that. I even love it sometimes, and and but for me personally, I still think that it's a set of arbitrary human traits which
Well, of course it
somehow.
is a set of arbitrary human traits. Everything
But
is a set
that's
of arbitrary things.
but that's why you have to call it masculinity? But why you have to call it femininity? I don't understand why. Why it could
Well,
actually be
I
gender
could
neutral.
call it
Why?
femininity, but then I would be feminine if I call those traits feminine. Then I would be a woman, but then being a woman would mean being a man, and that would be fine. But then that would be what I am.
What?
Exactly, you got very confused, so stop being philosophical on me. Anyway, let me read Jessica's messages. My mom told me the other day about a conversation she had with my grandmother. Grandmother, why doesn't Jessica cut his hair and stop dressing weird? Stop dressing weird. Mother, he could cut his hair and wear normal clothes, but he will always be different. And I'm like, this conversation has so many levels of wrong, I don't know where to start.
Um.
Rimby also lost
Me
the
neither.
words. It's like I don't even know where to start deconstructing this, which is like, I'm like, was this a good kind of weird, a bad kind of weird, or different? Sorry, because like, I am so. Also, this thing of like, oh, why aren't you just normal? Uh, hello.
Why you want this to be normal? Normal is boring.
It's so boring.
It's so boring. It's
I
kind of
hate
like
normal.
I do hate. I don't know.
Okay, I don't hate normal, but it's kind of boring. It's uninteresting.
Normal. Normal is the vanilla for
It's too vanilla
for the
for us,
human
guys.
beings.
We gotta be a little bit more spicy.
Spicy. That's right.
Yeah,
Because
that's
we
what
are
I'm
all
gonna call
spicy.
it.
No, not the other.
No.
Nah.
Spicy. I'm gonna call it spicy
Spicy.
and salty
Spicy. And salty.
and umami. Even
Um.
all the flavors, bitter and sour, all of it. Wait, spicy is not even a flavor. I'm stupid.
It's a sensation, actually.
But
It's more.
I know it causes a burning sensation, but it's not a flavor.
No.
It's five flavors total, I think, right? It's sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami. Those are the five. Yes, I did it. Spicy is not one of them. I know how to cook sometimes.
I know how to cook like never, but that's besides the point. Where were you?
At your gender,
So since we,
or lack of
my
it.
gender, actually, I've been considered to be a gender, to be honest, but that's not. But still doesn't represent me old that much. A gender like my character, for Christ's sake. I'm afraid that I'm living my own character. I don't like it. This is supposed to be a fictionalized version of me, not an actual version of me. Yeah.
I just
No,
kind of
I'm not
love how
binary.
the gender fluid person is here, like abolished gender. I'm like, I thought you were like fluid and that you had like a set of them.
No.
My favorite flavor is burnt. Same. I really like spicy.
I I do you do like spicy?
As an asexual, it's a funny thing for me to say.
Me as well.
beautiful.
It's nice. What I was like in my still in my gender.
Oh, another thing about bullying that I forgot, there was like secondhand bullying and how it affected me, which is like the things that other people get called that affect the way you act so that you don't get called those same things.
Mm-hmm.
The most prominent example of that being gay. The biggest insult that one could be called during middle school was basically our equivalent of faggot. It's just like it was like the one thing that everyone would get called, every guy would get called. And it's very funny how I use that in order to not come out as a trans guy because I knew I liked guys. I didn't know I liked girls. And I repressed that because if I liked girls, then maybe I could be a guy. But like, I repressed my bisexuality, so that I think I said this before, but I repressed my bisexuality so that because I liked guys and bisexual was not a thing, right? Like, that's not a thing that exists. Think like Toad when they were 12, okay? Let's think like Toad when they were 12. So, like, bisexuality does not exist because I like guys. And if I like guys, I do not like girls. Right, right, right. That's how it works. So I like guys. And I kind of feel like I should be a guy. But if I was a guy, I would still like guys. But being gay is wrong. Therefore, I am a woman.
This logic, this potato logic. I mean,
Listen, the premises. Like, the conclusion I got from my premises was perfect. The problem is that the premises were all wrong. I hate it. I hate like my how my argument was actually solid and sound. Made
that wasn't
sense,
valid.
but wasn't valid. But because no, it was everything. The premises were wrong. But
Yes,
that is
that's why it's
another
not
problem.
valid. That's
But
not. That's why the argument is not valid. It's solid, but it's not valid. Sorry, basic philosophy here.
yeah,
Sorry.
the premises were wrong. But like my conclusion was perfect. Like according to those premises, if the premises were correct, my conclusion was perfect. But God, those premises. But that's exact. But that only really happened exactly because of all the bullying that I would see other guys getting on account of acting feminine.
Mm.
So like the way the other people got bullied affected the way I would perceive myself, and I would force myself to be in order to not get bullied in the same way, even though I didn't think I was a guy at the time, and I was very much pretending I wasn't. But it was exactly because of that, because of all the transphobia and homophobia that existed, that stopped me from doing that. And being autistic, I processed everything very logically, as you can see.
Um,
It was very logical.
I'm
The
trying to
problem is that it
remember.
was actually logical. The
Hmm.
premises that society
I'm
gave
trying
me
to.
were bullshit.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I have issues with sexual orientation in regards to bullying. Well, I was victim of the homophobic. Uh, one homophobic incident, as I told you before, a little bit earlier here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was also repressing so much. I think. But it was. I'm trying to put my. Okay,
Repressing.
put
I would never do such a thing.
says the avoidant poet. Uh,
I was actually talking about myself there, because I do tend to always. I mean, I try to not repress stuff, but growing up, I would do it so much.
and also, I did repress because, and now repressed sexuality as a disabled person, a visibly disabled person. Because it's all the idea of like, oh, what you autistic girl, you're so innocent. You shouldn't. If you know about sex, you will be so. Uh, yeah, and I talked a little bit. We were talking the last episode, like or something. I think we touched that subject. And I did have a lot of repressive sexuality, which was a little bit overwhelming, to be honest, because my God, those were really good lost years. Because I couldn't express myself as I wanted, because basically I should not have feelings, because at least sexual feelings because I am fucking visibly disabled. That is like that shouldn't happen. You should be as much asexual as it comes. So and I jokes on you,
The
I'm
irony
asexual.
of that.
Jokes on you, I'm asexual.
Oh no, sorry, it was just the phrasing of that. As asexual as it comes. Sorry, I broke. I need a moment here. I need a moment. God,
It's beautiful, I know.
I'm so childish. God damn it.
No, it was beautiful actually.
The irony. The irony.
Giant.
But yeah, it's a very common thing that just disabled people are not perceived as having, a sex life or interest in the first place. They are not perceived as sexual subjects
Tragic. That is so tragic
because you're asexual.
because no, because listen, I've been longing.
What?
I have been longing, to have interactions, and it's like people just say like, oh, but you're physically disabled, you don't have sex, like no, and I would get rejected, and that's because I'm physically disabled because I get rejected. That is so unfair, really. I'm. It feels like I'm back in 8th grade again, like I'm being rejected because I look weird. That is
Oh
so
yeah,
like
definitely.
that there are a lot of lost opportunities here. Just because I look weird doesn't mean that I cannot do good in bed. You're so goddamn wrong.
Well, I don't want to get into detail of my personal life in that aspect,
I was just kidding.
but I am definitely not bad. But the thing is, it's very funny because like I have a completely different experience in what concerns that, because since I was always with the guys and the guys would talk about sex and all, uh, and I was always pretty curious about stuff, I would actually have a lot of conversations in which I would engage with sexual jokes and all of that, and I would feel okay with that because I kind of felt distance from them in a way, in the sense that like I didn't really process this, but I am in the asexual spectrum, but I am not touched or repulsed in any way, and I am very sex positive. Um, so basically, what would happen is that I would engage in this kind of conversations, and people would just perceive me as the person or as the girl that was super open minded about it, but at the same time, I wasn't seen as an object of desire because I was kind of weird. So I was in a very
Oh yeah.
strange position to be, in the sense that I was like, I was the person that could openly talk about it, and people would even come to make jokes or even talk or discuss some things. But on the other hand, people did not see me as an object of it very often, except if I was wearing a more open shirt and a nice bra. In that sense, probably I would. But if I wasn't, that would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And especially not during middle school. Older, like in high school, it would sometimes happen to be more objectified, and especially during college, definitely happened, but not during middle school.
I'm so lucky for not being objectified. I'm so goddamn lucky. I'm so glad that
Listen,
I
it
was not.
helped me cope with my dysphoria and also being in denial for longer because I did like the attention.
I
Because if I
resented the
could,
attention.
okay, yeah, but put it this way, if I could be a desirable woman, I had an excuse to stay in womanhood because
Yeah.
I was getting attention out of it, therefore I was performing it right. And so that made me be in denial for way longer because it stopped me from coming out, because if I wasn't getting any attention as a woman, then I would have to question it way earlier. I did like the attention. I did like the feedback I would get for as messed up as it was, because people were validating me that it looks pretty. You know? So there's that.
Hmm. Interesting.
Also, I got pretty traumatic experiences out of it because, guys are very stupid and they can't just tell you that you're pretty without being absolute dicks about it and just getting a fucking erection out of it, I suppose. But I don't know. but still, it was a very weird place. College was weird.
Same. For different reasons, but same. Uh, well, I wasn't objectified. Uh, I'm so glad I wasn't. Because I did resent the attention that I would get if I was objectified, by guys. Because it was getting clear over time that I didn't like guys so much.
Hmm.
I felt them brutish. I just found them, I don't know, just unattractive, basically. They're so. And then the irony, the deep and beautiful irony that is. I want little day maps, basically, or a person that just identifies a guy. Like it's just
Yeah,
that's like the most bit like it's like that's karma, basically. That's
yeah. You were like, oh, I like women. Me, haha. Also, other people that I know you date, aha.
yeah.
How about I
The
be a name app? How about I be non-binary and still identify as kind of a guy? How about I just be a trans mask person?
Why do you start to identify as the trans person? Trans person really good. A trans guy, like because it doesn't. Of course, because the episode of Gender Identity, you still identify as non-binary, and I know that you're
And I
being
am
more.
a non-binary guy.
Okay, that's thank you for the. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry. Um, what was I?
Yeah, my identity did shift a little bit more to the masculine side, but I'm still non-binary.
Hmm.
And I was still, but I still identified as trans mask all the way back there when I explained that I was
Hmm.
identifying as trans mask already.
Hmm. Ah, sorry. I don't know. Because because actually I went through several phases that
Uh-huh.
actually allow me to explain to actually come to terms like so just should be just gender neutral apparently because that's very much how I am perceived. I am pretty androgynous. I am.
Okay, just because you are perceived in a certain way doesn't mean that that's the way you have to
Yeah,
identify.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Let me laugh my little illusion here.
Mm-hmm.
No. It comes from the fact how I perceive gender roles, and it comes from the fact that how I perceive myself. I don't like to be perceived as a man. Like it's just very weird. It comes like in the same way I don't like to be perceived as a woman because it just feels like those big terms that I and labels that I just feel like I can never achieve, and I'm happy that I will never achieve, and that's a relief to just be confusing and confused.
Confusing and confused. What a mood.
Yeah,
If that
I
isn't
wish
my
that
entire existence.
confused and confused. That's beautiful.
Let's form a
I wish
band
that
called
people would
Confusing and
actually remember.
Confused. Jazzcat, we want to form a band called Confusing and Confused with us. Let's form a band. That's it.
I will try to learn the
CNC.
drums. I will try to learn the drums.
You will learn the drums nice.
Yeah, that because that's the only thing that I can
I
imagine
will do
doing.
violin and vocals. Jazzcat, you play the guitar, obviously. Unless you want to play something.
We're gonna play the bass then. We need a bass actually,
I will do the bass on a keyboard. I don't know, dude. I don't care.
and I will just play the drums and kind of like and what is called that doesn't matter. It was another percussion instrument that is very widely used, but I cannot remember the name. Uh,
There are many. I don't know which one you're referring to.
Never mind. The maracas.
Ah, yeah, that's her name.
Like,
Jazzcat just says okay. All lowercase, just okay.
That is so.
I love it.
That is
The
that
raw
is so
energy of
awkward.
this message. This is no, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Jesscat, the way we are justifying this is that we are bullying you into forming a band with us. That's how we are staying in topic. We are bullying you right now. I also play
Uh,
bass. Listen, I know that you play the bass, but you cannot play the guitar and the bass at the same time, can you? If you can, I mean, listen, my man.
it makes you're possessed by him and you start to play the bass. Like it just
Although if you're gonna
shifts.
make a band, we do need to just do things individually, so it's fine. It's fine. We can
Yeah.
just record at each.
Yeah, it's fine. And I could actually have my little mental breakdown before.
Oh no! Just get sad, but mostly I just play the fool. No.
What? Play the fool?
Yes, being a fool. Just play the fool.
Ah,
It's a pun.
okay.
It's a very nice pun. Actually, no, it's not very nice. Jessica, why are you saying that about yourself? It's not very nice. It's funny, but it's not nice.
I mean, I will play the fool because I know shit about music. Literally, I'm not even kidding. And I know you want a jokester for the band. I am. I will make very bad jokes, so that people appreciate more the music. Always better. Oh, someone is very silly. So
Jessica says that he can play the bass and the guitar at the same time, and I'm here like, damn.
oh, so
If it's a bass guitar, I guess, because all basses are guitars, so.
I'm trying to remember if I did bully someone by being sarcastic, because I think I did. Because I used to be.
I mean, if I did, I didn't notice I was doing it, but probably I did.
No, me. I was
No, no,
talking
no, no,
about
no.
me.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but I was.
Sorry, you complimenting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, because people, because certain people in my life like to call me inconvenient, because I do. I'm extremely sarcastic, and I can say some very sensitive things. And I'm trying to remember if I did bullies. I remember one time that I did laugh. This was by accident. At my bullies, the fact that she told me that her uh, parrot, I think it was, ran away, and I found it funny. I was 12, and I found it funny, and I laughed. Sorry, like I just imagined like the little bird
Okay, but
just
that's not
going.
bullying. Come
No,
on.
I know, but she treated me like I was, and and
Okay, then
she
she was
got so.
gaslighting you at that point because
Yeah. She was
if
like,
if she
you
was
did, you
bullying
did great
you,
offense. Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
of course, it wasn't nice of you and it was wrong, but to call that
yeah.
bullying, I mean, come on,
Yeah, no, it
dude.
wasn't. But she felt like it was kind of bullying. So like I was teasing her or something. Like I was being bad to her. And 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 I don't know, she would stuff like that. I would do something that it was kind of like, yes, it's a mistake. It's not great. Like yes, I pushed over from, I pushed her uh, off the the pedestrian pathway. I think that's not the name, but you get it idea. Because I was just like probably irritated with her, and also I did slap her one time in front of her mom.
What?
Almost in front of her because we were in the same car, and actually I slapped her because I was like probably I was pissed at something. Like I was not very sane. Like I was probably processing the stuff that she did, and I was like, "Girl,
It
you're
was a
so fucked up."
reaction.
Yeah, like probably something that she told me like a few hours ago. I don't know. I was a slow processor. Still I am. And yes, and I was getting like and actually the mom still remembers me doing that and still like you were being shitty for like a couple things that I did to her. That was probably defense even. But yeah, I was not a saint.
I
Could
mean,
actually be
no
bad.
kid
Just
was, because, like, middle schoolers are fucking insane.
yeah.
And, like, you were probably. Yes, yes, I think we are back online.
Please tell me.
Yes,
I
I think
thought
we are
we
on.
are. I think we are on. Okay. Yeah, but it didn't come from a place of gender dysphoria. I should.
Okay, but
I
I don't know
should.
if people stopped hearing you, really. I have no idea.
But me neither. So I'm going to talk about my gender dysphoria.
Sure.
It's not that much, to be honest. Like, yes, there's like the physical one, but and then just like the complete alienation that I suffer from being stereotyped like a woman. It's not like a physical pain or even a mental pain. It's more like, you're still really associated with that role. Are you not
Hmm.
stupid? It's not that much intense, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that um without wanting to, I ended up bullying girls because of their femininity, because I was trying to run away from it. I'm pretty sure I was shitty about that several times, and I was probably, you know, actually harmful towards some of them, pretty sure.
Hmm.
Because, of course, it was the best way I had to process all of that. And, well, I guess that's me being both autistic and trans.
I don't know. I'm trying to. In college,
Mm-hmm.
try to remember. I try to remember. I was kind of like they thought like, why don't you just dress up like a like more not proper, like more beautiful, like you just straighten your hair, just make put your
Oh,
makeup
yeah,
on.
the amount of time people ask me that.
And I was like, but I will not feel like myself. I'll feel like a character, which I do have. Probably some character, I don't know. Because I tend to do cross dressing, and it's fun. But it's while I'm this character, not me. Don't address me as Rambo. Address me as someone else. And but they were not getting that. They would not understand the fact that I was trans and that I would not be very comfortable with the gender role that I was assigned at birth. I would say even gender role, not even gender. Uh,
I mean, the gender you were assigned at birth came with a role that you did not want to have, yes.
Yes, and that was so, and I did resent that so much because I didn't like them that much. Even my classmates, like they were just so feminine. They were, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if I don't know if they would call them vain, but it's like there's so many concerns in this current role, and you are
About
worried about.
nails and shoes and bags and boys?
I mean, I did understand the boys. I mean, I do understand that boys are very enchanting. I mean, no, at the time I will not be like,
Listen, I
boys
would
are
also
disgusting.
understand the boys, but the way they would talk about it would always make me feel very uncomfortable.
Because probably they were talking in a very like in that in their own lens, which I do.
It would always be a very fantasy, like, the cuz he's so pretty and he's so cool and he's so this and that, and I kind of couldn't deal with that. And, like, I know that this probably still has some misogynistic roots in it, like my way
Hmm.
of even now looking at it. But I just couldn't understand it, and it really made me very uncomfortable because people were forcing me to be part of that.
Oh yeah, especially with the whole like the aspects that are related to womanhood, which are like, you had to shave your legs, you had to dream about having children, having a husband.
Yeah.
I couldn't just.
But
I
that's the
felt
thing.
so
I
alienated
actually
from that.
liked those. I actually did not mind those that much because, like, I
I
didn't
did.
mind. Yeah, I did want to have kids at the time, and I did like the idea of having a partner by my side. to do stuff like not in a I would actually not mind to think that maybe in the future, like after I worked a couple of years, maybe I would just stay home doing my things and just, taking care of a kid or two. Like I wouldn't really mind that role at the time, and even now, like if it wasn't for me being literally unable to physically, because I can barely take care of myself as it is. Um, like if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would mind being on a care taking role, not as a mom, but as a parent raising someone. Like I don't mind, and I wouldn't mind keeping things in track and keeping things clean. I like organizing stuff, and I like being a source of reliability. So it's a role that I could see myself in, not from a traditional family point of view, but I was okay with it for other reasons. So I actually did not mind that part. And for me, it was actually a source of reassurance of like, I will have a place, maybe hopefully, to just stop and have a peaceful life from then on. That's kind of how I was seeing it. But the way they were putting it was because the guy was cool and like this or that. And it didn't seem like it would actually develop a relationship in which they would be um
Intimate and deep and understanding.
exactly, because well, the way I was seeing it was like I want a friend, because I am a
Fuck.
platonic, so the only way I could process it is like I want a friend, which would be a crush anyway for me, but like someone I actually trust, someone I'm actually intimate with, someone that I
Yeah,
really like and that I could be with. So I guess that I didn't really mind. I just minded the way they were portraying it.
I'm trying
Uh,
to. Do you know why I felt so? Because at the time, like I could not relate to the girls because they were talking about the boys, like, oh, they're so hot or something like that. But also, if I would go with the guys, the way that they're also talking about girls was also alienating. Even though I would at the time I was very attracted to
mm-hmm.
women, and I was like, but still, it's not the way that I. That's why I would was like actually kind of hard to understand if I was actually attracted to women because the way that guys were talking about women was kind of like not me. I didn't relate to. They have their own ways of describing women, which I don't like. And for me, it feels more ethereal when it comes to describe women that I did have crush on. It was very ethereal. It was almost um, abstract. And don't get me wrong, I was very hopelessly romantic. That's why I would always like, oh, they're so eternally beautiful. They're like temptation to my bro poor sense of like serenity. Like I could not be sleep well while just by thinking the existence of these beautiful women in my life. I could like that
I
something like
always
that.
felt like when guys talked about girls during middle school, it was more of a joke rather than anything else. They'd be like, oh, she's so hot, but they never really meant that they wanted to have the girl. It felt like it was more of a protocol that they had to comment on some girl being pretty
Yeah.
rather
I
than they
understand.
actually wanting to have her. So I could engage in that because I would be the person that'd be like, that girl's hot. But like I wouldn't do it on a trying to diminishing the girl or anything. It for me it always felt more like an inner joke that no one actually meant to even interact with her, no one actually meant to go bother her, you know. Of course it's still wrong to just be doing that because you are dismissing the person and seeing the girl or the woman more as an object than anything else, but at least it didn't feel like they were actually gonna, you know, act on it or just being just dirty about it or anything. No, it just felt like they just had to say something. So I could deal with that. What I couldn't deal with was the entire delusional shenanigans that sometimes I felt like go talk would go into. For me personally, I couldn't understand.
Uh, I felt this alienated because, well, I do have probably a non-normative way of
Probably.
finding people attractive. Not probably. uh,
Well, same.
Well, that's why where the poet comes. Like I would always be like, but there's like it's indescribable how I feel about this person that I guess the most close that I could describe was through poems. I think.
Oh yeah, I would write a lot about my crushes, don't get me wrong.
Oh, like
More like about how I felt rather than about them. It would more be like of a how the things about them would make me see the world rather than their actual attributes, if that makes sense. It was always
oh yeah,
about
yeah.
how
Oh,
things would change around me because of that, I guess. But I did write a
mm,
lot, and that's the way I interpreted it. That was very therapeutic for me, really.
I'll be more mythical, I think,
Oh, I
or
don't think you
mystique.
understand how abstract I was in my writing as well. Like I've seen stuff you've written, and they're sometimes pretty abstract, but I don't think mine were any less. It's a different style, sure, but I would be pretty
Oh,
abstract.
oh, oh, because I do work a lot with themes
Mm-hmm.
and you can see the patterns and how they develop along across the poem. Well, at the time, I was more. It felt more descriptive. I think it was more like it felt like an imagery, like a painting that I was. And I was not. It was not to attribute that much of the person itself of the woman, but it was more like how it feels to love this person,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Exactly, exactly. I
So
relate.
it is was descriptive. Nowadays, it's more like a. I don't write about love anymore.
Same.
I just I kind of resent that, so I do write about it's kind of like cafe chest, yeah. Uh, that comes from Kafka, sorry. Which is
Yeah,
very existentialist, basically, and I do work with themes.
I would always be existential even when talking about love. What is the fun of talking about love if you're not going to be an existentialist piece of shit?
I don't even know what the existential is. The people overuse it
You
like
were
I'm
not
having.
bullied enough, Rimbi. You were not bullied enough.
That's why the explanation, because I didn't question my existence that much enough. So that's why I don't understand existentialism.
I mean,
Uh,
it's not that I questioned my existence, I just had a big ball of void inside of me. So,
and I do deal with demons that they keep haunting me.
comes with borderline. Who wants borderline? I'm offering.
It is offering borderline for those who want it. Who is
No
interested in the
one?
borderline?
Damn.
What's going?
Rude.
Not even a. Nobody wants the borderline.
No, I don't think anyone wants
Nobody.
borderline.
Anyone
Sad.
wants to. Anyone wants
Everyone
OCD,
is
so they
ableist.
anyone wants to OCD, you want to be haunted by demons, I can give to you. I can give to you. I can give my old demons, you know?
Personalized and all, exclusive edition.
It's Halloween promotion. There's Halloween sales. I do have contamination demons, relationship demons, and moral demons. The moral
Wow.
demons are very interesting.
Now they are our bullies. Our biggest bully these days is ourselves and society
And
and the
I
entire
do
world.
think,
Let's
and
bring
I,
the system down.
yes, let's bring the system down and see it burning from inside until there's nothing left, until there's no people there, until
Maybe
there's
we've
no
been
people
off topic
oppressed,
for like
until
half an hour now.
I will come back because I will talk about. I want to touch my moral CD.
Okay.
So, moral CD basically is I'm having a very obsessive thoughts and I'm obsessed about being a good person. And if anything makes me question that I'm being question my morality as a person or being a good person, whatever, I, I do I do get shit. I feel doom. You know, I feel doom, and And I do remember someone that triggered that shit so much. And I don't know if this is bullying. And they just hold me in such high standards, I think. Because apparently I didn't realize that they're probably uh, obsessed with me. Uh, and I did something shitty, I think.
I am not sure we are live. Oh, we are. Okay. Sorry, I thought that my OBS was disconnecting again for some reason. I don't know.
Jesus fucking Christ, this
I
is
don't
going on.
know. I don't know, man. My internet is
And
very weird today.
yeah, and they just keep like uh, judging me like you seem manipulative and da, 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 and like you're manipulating me and you were I don't know, you're playing schemes on me, like, and then keep saying like, no, I didn't say that you were that. No, I didn't ever say that you were manipulative. Da, 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 never happened. Da, 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 yeah, and that was always, and that arguments that lasted for some time, and they just put me into like questioning me all the time if I was a good person after all. And I think that is why I also never bullied anyone, because it would also put me into this doom that I'm being a bad person and I should be good. Why I'm being bad? I am nothing bad. I have no other attributes. I'm really, I really have to maintain this only thing that I can be. I'm at the time I thought I was not smart. I am not smart. I'm not hard worker. I'm not, hell, I'm not probably interesting, but I had to be a good person. And so that was the thing I was trying to maintain all the time. Because if I didn't, I would suffer the doom. That is being, you know, not not um not feeling my obsession, to be a good person. And I realized now how much this has actually ruined my life.
Huh, interesting. Because my obsession with becoming a good person made my life so much better.
Because I do seem a little bit. Oh yes, it can improve. I guess, but at the same time,
I don't
I
know.
I feel doom all the time.
Yeah,
I live.
but listen, it's more like my pursuit to be a better person made me more empathetic, made me actually be able to start loving myself. So it was in the moment that I realized that I could not possibly like the person that I was in that moment, because if I was someone else looking at me, you know, I wouldn't. That I started doing that exercise more. If I was someone else, would I enjoy being with myself? And when I started being a kind of person that was like, I mean, I might not have friends, but if I was someone else and I met this me, I think we would be friends. You know,
Hmm.
it was in that moment that I started feeling better about myself. I developed my own sense of self esteem based on how much I was working to be a better person. So it became kind of a, I always wanted to be better. And sometimes I still will have moments in which I was like, damn, I thought I was better than this. You know, that will always happen. But I will look from the outside for a second there and I'd be like, no, if I was judging myself, I would forgive this, I would be understanding, and I would help this person getting better. So that's what I'm exactly what I'm gonna do. And I've been doing this exercise for a very long time now. So I guess that maybe the reason why, and I'm guessing, I'm purely guessing here, the reason why with you it becomes a little bit more doom like is because you are trying to do that to yourself from the perspective of yourself, and you are not getting detached from the person that you are to actually analyze it. You are analyzing yourself from your own point of view, and not from what if I was outside myself and trying to look from it, look at it from the outside.
But that seems more terrifying because I think that other people even think it worse than me. They think I
Really?
even, yes, because I do think
Okay,
that, yeah.
okay, okay. No. When I say okay, okay, if you think of neurotypicals, of course, what I'm trying to say is that imagine that you were from the outside, there was another you that meets the you that you are trying to judge.
They would think that probably I'm a cool peep and I'm a good person. I do think.
Exactly. And that's the judgment
But
that you should
here's
use.
yes,
That
but
is the right judgment to use. According to your own standards, are you a good person and are you a lovable person? If you met yourself on the
I do think
street,
so.
exactly.
Uh,
And that's just the kind of mindset that you should be having.
But
That,
what I'm concerned is, well, if I do something shitty and that makes me question, because then nowadays I can think now, right now I can think that I'm a good person, but then what if I do something, a mistake, which is fine. Uh, Depends on how much harm I do, but but people do mistakes, and I'm just afraid of feeling the same too. You know, that is it. You're just so afraid of failing yourself, which I do have. I do have a lot of obsession to not fail. I'm really averse to failure, you know, and those are related. So yeah. So it's just like this doom, like what if I fail at being a good person? What if I fail at being a hard worker type of thing? And so I don't think it's that much perception of me. If I don't know if I make myself clear. I don't think other people also see me as a good person, but it's more like imagine the perception change because I do something.
mm.
That is the doom.
I
So to
mean,
speak.
but perceptions will always change, but that doesn't mean that you stop being a good person.
What
My
if I
pers-
harm you, for example?
Huh? What if? Sorry?
What if I harm you?
But that will inevitably happen in any relationship that you have close
Yeah,
with
I
someone.
know.
You're gonna harm someone. But
I know.
once again, in that moment, you gotta put yourself from the outside. Would I still be okay with this? Would I still, you know?
Mm,
And that's the
I
judge you
know.
gotta use. Yes, I do some pretty shitty stuff from time to time, but do I put my value as a person on that? Or do I try to see if I still like myself even though I did that? Because, like, if it's something that I put myself from the outside and I really judge that, like, no, that is wrong, then I need to change that and I need to make amends and I need to do something about it. If I still like myself, it's not that I'm not going to apologize and then I'm not going to try to make things better, because of course I will, but I will not be that hard on myself. There's no reason why I would.
Hmm. Actually, when I start realize that I have this obsession, actually I start to be more soft with myself because, like, oh, okay, I see. I see because it put me into the frame, to the main picture. Okay, my brain can actually lie to me, and so I should, if I'm being hard on myself, it's because the brain is just lying to me, basically. Because and the head becomes too fuzzy, so that's why I cannot think straight. That has been helpful, but regardless, in the terms of growth, I do think that also I grow in the same way, like, because of course it takes time to realize, to put myself in the perspective of outside,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like, and then I put myself on the perspective of outside, and then I try to make a retrospection on my past actions, kind of like, okay, this was shitty. I should change that, and we know how to change that, and yeah, I implemented a plan, but it takes time, regardless. Uh, and I also kind of blame also on that on my own moral obsession, but it's kind of adaptive in that part. I don't know. It's just I have many people call me a bad person. I have close people call me a bad person when I just become irritated, when I become aggressive, when I'm actually just mad and feeling invalidated. So I don't know, there's a lot of factors on it. And also, yeah, I do suffer from a lot of bullying in my house, which is I
Oh
we've
yeah.
been focusing on school bullying, but
We also touched
in my house there's a lot.
work bullying.
What
We also
what?
kinda touched work bullying, kinda a little bit,
Yeah,
just
sorry.
a bit.
But the family bullying I'm talking about.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, yeah. There was, yeah, I was called a bad person, and people that and the things that were saying to me like since I was young, I did believe them, and I it was took a long time to deconstruct them and actually thinking no, I'm not that, and it took me was literally people from outside that were not my family to say that you're not that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of like I'm receiving contradictory informations.
Yeah.
And how you make up because I think with this type of bullying it becomes even more insidious because you just don't realize how much it becomes your thought pattern, how it influences your perception of yourself, and and it, and I just break down realizing that oh my goodness, my low self-esteem, I know where it comes from, and my God, it's so disheartening. Most of the things that I was believing myself were told from people in this house. The ghosts, the creatures that invade through the cracks of the door to haunt this poor poet.
Himbi, I am tired.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. I just this is late hours, but
It's
I will just
okay.
want to make this note. I just want to make this quick note that yes, I do suffer from bullying at home.
Yeah.
It's and I don't say this because I tend to repress a lot, you know. That I only realized this in the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
that's fine.
mean, same. I guess it's just so normalized in a way that I kind of shrug it off as well.
Yeah,
Because,
you
like,
know.
and in my case, it's not that people are actually trying to or being malicious about it. Like, they're genuinely nice people, just power imbalance makes things harder, I guess.
Yeah, and for me, it's people with a lot of issues, and then they don't work on them, and they decide to. They find really fine to project their anger and frustrations on me in very hurtful ways, and I think it's fine. I had to do that emotional labor, not even emotional labor,
Mm,
but I don't know. I was considered a bad person. I was considered lazy. I was considered aggressive. I was considered that I would beat the shit out of anyone. And
Jesus.
yes, ma'am. Yes, someone thinks that I can beat, that I can slap her. And she always says that, and it's like, no, I cannot do that. Look at me. Um, it's like the image, like they just create. It's so opposite of me. I'm selfish. Like I'm also called selfish. I'm called cruel, vile,
Mm.
all things that opposite to me. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, I was listening to you. I was trying to prepare things for ending
Yes,
and
thank you very
rating.
much.
No, that is okay. I think we are gonna rate a crafter. I don't remember being there before, but I do remember people recommending. So I think we are gonna drop by and see
And
how it is
how it
there.
go?
Let me. I already copied. I already did the rate command. So you can copy that message, and let me just rate Andy Mecca. Andy, I think he is crafting stuff for Halloween, so looks fun. We're getting in season. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We are here to just share experiences, so it's always good to have people here talking to us. We will, if nothing happens, be streaming again next Wednesday on the same schedule. And yeah, we still don't have a theme. We will decide on that briefly. So yeah, bye bye.
Hey, bye bye.